We want to thank you for the service that you have done for our country, and we hope that throughout our program today you see just how much we appreciate you and how much we thank you for what you've done for us. So right now I need everybody to stand at a level 0 and turn and face the flag, please. Attention, salute, flag.
Teams ready?
Whoa!
Move! About, face, pose. About, face, pose. Breathing, arms.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Students, I need you to turn towards me and have a seat again, please. Hey guys, listen. Your friends in the choir have a special song that they are going to sing now. And we have each of these flags that represent the different branches of the military. So they're holding these flags to represent different branches of military that these people have served in. And the choir is going to sing a song, and they're going to have a video up here that goes along with their song.
Back home now, I know you're probably sleeping. Over here it's the middle of the day. uniform. And if I die before you wake, I pray the world will take a good look at what God's given us. And we can only understand everything is in His hands. All we need is a little faith and trust. I want you to know ain't too high a price to pay if I die before you wake. No, ain't too high a price to pay if I die before you wake.
Out to the left, out left, and west, arch. Out left, arch. All left, arch. All left, arch.
We would hold flags and we would say a point. We would say, in Flanders Field, where poppies blow between the crosses, row on row. And that's about British soldiers who died in World War I for their country. And I thought Veterans Day was about me, but it wasn't. If you could slide that. We would say the Pledge of Allegiance as we did here, but it's really not about students. So then you might think Veterans Day is about the President, because on Veterans Day the President always places a wreath on the tomb of the unknown soldier, and he always gives a speech, but it's not about the President. Next slide. It's not about parades. We had a Veterans Day parade in Owensboro this past weekend. It's not about the music and the marching band or the ROTC unit. You'll start to recognize some of our former presidents who led the country in times of war. This is Franklin Roosevelt, who was in charge of the country during World War II. It wasn't about him. It wasn't about President Kennedy. And I know some of our members served during the Vietnam War. He was our president when that war started. It wasn't about President Kennedy. And some of you start to recognize George Bush, who was president when the War on Terror began. But Veterans Day isn't about George Bush. One of our most famous presidents, do you recognize who this is? Who is it? Abraham Lincoln, that's right. Abraham Lincoln gave a tremendous, a beautiful speech, oratory, during the Civil War, where Americans fought each other to decide what the future of our country would be. And he said 77 years ago, and you've heard that speech before. He made a wonderful speech during the Civil War at the Battle of Gettysburg. But Veterans Day is not about President Lincoln. It's not about speeches. It's not about great ideas. Veterans Day is not about generals. In World War II, General Eisenhower led a large amphibious invasion from England to France to save all of Europe. It wasn't about General Eisenhower. In the Korean War, General MacArthur led a large UN contingent to fight against communist aggression. It wasn't about General MacArthur. It wasn't about General Schwarzkopf or General Petraeus. Veterans Day is really about young Americans who grow to be older Americans, who answer the call of duty for their country. It starts after high school. Not much older than you is when veterans begin. And they're not just nameless or faceless people. They're people with names like John or Mary, Hiram or Jason. They're Americans who answer the call, who get their shots, who are well trained, and then sent off to defend our country. Veterans Day is about the soldiers, the sailors, the airmen, the Marines, the members of the National Guard who have their own goals in life. They want to grow up to be husbands and fathers, wives and mothers. They want to grow up to be successful businessmen and play sports. But instead of that, they put that all on hold to go serve our country. Do any of you here have members of your family, moms, dads, grandparents, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, who are members of the military, who are veterans of the military? Well, when you go home tonight, please tell them that Bill said, thank you for your service, because they allow us to be free and allow me to speak here today in this free and open forum. These veterans came from every state, they came from every home in America, and they have returned to civilian life to work in every field of America. Business, teachers, scientists, men who work for the city. There are over 23,000 American veterans that are still alive today. They're well educated, many of them have college degrees, they're productive members of our society. As a matter of fact, since George Washington led the Continental Army in the American Revolution, over 33 million Americans have answered the call to keep our nation free. They've sacrificed for us. Do you recognize some of these famous veterans? Alan Alda from the TV series, does anyone know? MASH. Alan Alda. Some of us younger, older folks know. Alan Alda was in the Army, and he played in the Army. In the middle, Ice-T. Ice-T was in the Army. Bill Cosby from the Cosby Show was a Navy corpsman. The first American in space, John Glenn, later became a senator from Ohio, was a Marine Corps fighter pilot. In the middle, you'll see a gentleman named Jimmy Stewart. Has anyone seen the Christmas story, It's a Wonderful Life? Jimmy Stewart is the actor, but he put his acting career on hold to become a bomber pilot in World War II. He flew very dangerous missions. And Charles Bronson, on the end, was a gunner on an airplane called a B-29, also a bombing airplane. All of these folks put their lives on hold to serve, just like these men on the other side. Now I want you to meet another veteran, not so famous. His name is Hiram. Hiram's from Wyoming. He had just graduated from college when World War II started. He was about to go to medical school. Hiram wanted to be a doctor. He joined the U.S. Army in World War II. If you look at him, he's a nice, happy, cheerful young man. He's just like us. He was wounded in World War II and had over 100 stitches around his face, around his eyes, but he survived the war. He later got a master's degree in counseling to work in schools, and he married his high school sweetheart. And when he proposed to her, he said, "Will you marry me?" He said, "If you sort the colors of the socks out of the laundry, I'll do the rest." Now, why did he say that? Because Hiram was blind. He was blinded in the war. He gave his sight so that we could be here today and talk about what Veterans Day is really about. Veterans Day is about men like Hiram. He went on to have 8 children and 41 grandchildren. He became an educator. He was knighted by the French government. You can call him Sir Hiram. He plays a violin. He swims every day. What is Veterans Day about? It's about Hiram. It's Hiram's Day. Veterans Day is also Jason Day. I know the men over here will recognize this. This is the Medal of Honor. It's a medal for bravery in the line of duty in the face of the enemy. I want to talk to you about Jason Dunham. Jason Dunham's birthday was November 10th, just a couple of days ago. That's the Marine Corps' birthday. Some would say he was destined to be a Marine. He was 31 on Saturday. He is also a nice-looking young American man. He was born in Silo, New York, a big city of 1,900 people, very small town. He joined the Marine Corps when he became a squad leader. He led 13 men in Iraq during battles. Again, nice-looking young man, Jason. Veterans Day is about Jason. Jason answered the call of duty and went to training. Next slide. But Jason was just like you and I. Jason had a mom who was a teacher, had a dad who was a farmer, he had a sister and 2 brothers. He's another American like us. Here he's getting a medal for being a good sportsman in the Marine Corps, being really tough. But he got another medal. And I'm going to start to tell you about that medal and tell you more about Jason. That medal starts off with by saying, the President takes pride in presenting the Medal of Honor posthumously to Corporal James Dunham. The Dunham family is what's called, or was what's called, a Blue Star family. And I saw someone here with a blue star. I saw one of the ladies over here with a blue star. That blue star means it's a flag, it's a symbol of a flag. It has red on top, white in the center, and red on the bottom. Is that right? But in the center, it has a blue star. And what that means is you have a member of your family who's serving in the military in time of war, is away from home. Now, that letter, that citation the President had written that says this medal is presented by the President was for gallantry at the risk of his own life. Now, Jason was 22 years old when he served in Iraq. You see, he was a fun-loving young guy, even as a Marine. The rest of that citation continues. His squad was on a reconnaissance mission in Iraq. They heard weapons and guns firing. So he led his squad away from a safe position to where this gunfire was going on. He saw some enemy vehicles that people were getting out of, some of the enemy. And he led his squad to help in the fight. Now, Jason was popular when he was in high school. He was a star basketball player at Silo University. Anybody here play basketball? Of course, we all do. This is Kentucky. Just like us, he loved to play basketball. He was a young man like the rest of us. Corporal Dunham led his Marines to battle, searching through where this enemy was coming from. Jason never got to marry. Jason never got to have children. Because as the enemy got out of the car, they pulled out a hand grenade, something that explodes, and Jason took that hand grenade, put it on his own body, and fell to the ground. Jason threw his body on that grenade to protect the rest of the Marines in his squad. He survived the blast, but later died. He gave his life so that this country could be free. Later, a Navy ship was named after him, and now his family is what's called a Gold Star family. That blue turns to gold because they lost a member of their family in the service. Veterans Day is not about you, it's not about me, really. Veterans Day is not about the spectacular color guard we saw, the parades that we saw last weekend. Veterans Day is about Jason. Veterans Day is about Hiram and the sacrifice that they made for us. It's about the men and women, like these men, who defended our nation and guarded our nation, some at a terrible cost. So I'll ask you today, as you think about Veterans Day, when you see a teacher that is a veteran, when you see your mom or dad or grandpa, a neighbor down the street, or a friend, tell them you know what Veterans Day means, because it's about them. That's what Veterans Day is about.